Howdy there, folks. It's Geist with another Destiny 2 video. This video is going to be a bit sort of a rant coupled with some gameplay here, talking about the current meta that we have. And our current meta is a meta that has stood pretty much since Forsaken launched. And that is hand cannon and shotgun, or shotgun and hand cannon. Guns that shoot pellets and guns with a cylinder. So this meta, it came about in Forsaken, of course, once shotguns came out of the heavy slot. Hand cannons have always been kind of a more forgiving weapon type. They sort of just give you headshots for free. They've got really good hit registration. And that wasn't always the case. We did have a time, of course, where hand cannons were sort of shooting ghost bullets, as everybody called them. But ghost bullets aside, you've had your 140s, 150s, kind of always been the dominant archetype of hand cannons. Here with the launch of Beyond Light, of course, 120s became just monstrously overpowered, blasting people at ranges that no hand cannon ever dared to before. And of course, a lot more forgiving than some of our older hand cannons. 140s, which are now, 150s are gone. Now we've just got our 140s. 140s typically require you hit all 3 headshots. 120s, however, pretty much you just need 1 headshot and then 2 body shots on Guardians. I think about 5 or 6 resilience or lower, a bit of rounding there, but most Guardians in the game are typically going to prioritize mobility and recovery. In reverse order, recovery is typically first. Not a lot of people really rock high resilience. So because of that, 120s are just chewing through people. And even those of you that have high resilience, well, 2 headshots, 1 body. Because of the forgiving nature of them, the fact that they just kind of hand you headshots and have such good aim assist, hit registration, that's kind of why they're so powerful. And something that can really tap out to some fairly long ranges while still having sort of open enough sights to challenge at closer ranges. Really the only downside to hand cannons is their in-air accuracy, and that in-air accuracy is a lot stronger than most other weapons in the game. I think only sidearms and SMGs have an inherently better in-air accuracy, unless we're talking about 180 hand cannons, which of course still have that. Shotguns are shotguns. You run around, you put the barrel in their face, and you kill them. Just press a button and you win. That's pretty much it with a shotgun. So this meta has sort of, it's been in place for a really long time, and in my personal opinion, it would be nice to see a change. Now the gameplay that you're going to see here is me using an Igneous and a Reese Walker. I got a pretty decent roll on these 2 weapons for weapons that I don't really enjoy using. My Igneous has, I believe, Ricochet, Quick Draw, and Rampage with small bore. And then my Reese Walker has Quick Draw, Iron Reach, and Full Choke. So obviously pretty darn good rolls on both of those. I've got what most people would consider God rolls, but I don't like using them. Well, that's not entirely true. I do enjoy using my Igneous. Hand cannons are fun. It is fun to feel like a space cowboy running around with your 6-gun, just rootin' tootin' shooting, as it were. But I'm a bow main. I enjoy Le Monarch. I would like to see bows shine a little bit more other than Le Monarch. I love Le Monarch, but I'm kind of tired of using it. And so what I want to get into with this video is how we could shake up this meta. What could Bungie do to change things? How could they change things in a way that would bring about not necessarily just a meta shift, but maybe eliminate the meta? And I know that's sort of a I might be having delusions of grandeur there, but it would be nice to see not the same thing we've always been seeing, which is hand cannons and shotguns, hand cannons and shotguns. Now granted, we've had our brief intermissions where we had 600 RPM auto rifles, bygones, our fusions, your air intel, but for the most part, the staple, despite those outliers, the staple has still been hand cannons and shotguns. Because those other things, those other outliers, they got shut down pretty quickly or quick enough. whereas hand cannons and shotguns have been dominant since Forsaken launched, and it has just been the case since then. So we've had this meta now for years, and it would be nice to see something different. Why 120s are so strong is not just because of their range. Everybody thinks it's the range, and yes, the range is a big factor. It does play a big part, but that's not what makes them so strong. Even now, they still feel dominant, they still feel powerful, but it isn't because of the range. The difference between even a decently rolled 120 is about 40 meters, and then say for something like a well-rolled 140, 34, maybe 35 meters. That's a difference of 5 or 6 meters. It's not as drastic as you think it is. The reason that they are so powerful is because of their impact. They hit so freaking hard per bullet that the burst damage is much higher than other primaries. I mean, 90 damage per crit. You're basically taking out half of most Guardians' health, or more than half, depending on the Guardian. That's incorrect. Not more than half. It just looks that way because of the way the bar is on the screen. But you're taking out roughly half of a Guardian's health in one shot. So the peak damage and the team shot potential is incredibly high on these. And they're also very forgiving because that impact is so high. You don't have to get all headshots. One of the only other archetypes of weapons that immediately comes to mind would be the 260 RPM Scouts. I believe for most Guardians it's 3 headshots and 2 body shots, so there's a little bit of forgiveness there. A little more than half of your shots have to be headshots, but you can miss a couple and still get the kill and still hit that optimal TTK. And that's what we need with more of our primaries. In short, we just need more forgiveness on more of our primaries, similar to how the 120s are set up. They don't necessarily have to have that higher impact, but it would be nice if they only required, so many headshots, a lower percentage of headshots, not every single one of your shots being a headshot to reach that optimal TTK. That's the most important part. If we were to have that change on more of our primaries, allowing them to be a little bit more consistent as the 120s, then 120s would not feel so overpowered. You wouldn't see them dominating right now. You wouldn't see them everywhere. At least nearly as much. Now there are some things intrinsic to hand cannons that are still a bit overpowered. The hit registration on hand cannons is very forgiving. A lot of people like to claim that there's a massive skill gap to hand cannons, that they're the most skilled primary there is, and to a certain degree that is true. I would say that when it comes to using something like a hand cannon versus a scout rifle, an auto rifle, any of our other various primaries, hand cannons do have the highest skill ceiling, but it's as simple as just learning to control the recoil. And spoiler alert, throw a bunch of stability on them. That's all you got to do. Stability has way more impact on a hand cannon usage than range does, and this is especially true on console. It will allow your hand cannon to reset a lot quicker, and a lot of times you can almost just spam the trigger. You really don't have to have that much trigger discipline. Once you learn the recoil, learn to watch the dot on the tip of that hand cannon, you can kind of just trace with the dot, let it reset itself. If you've got high enough stability, it'll be resetting so quick you can just about spam at the fastest RPM you can, and you're going to be landing all headshots because the weapon's going to be just giving them to you. So all in all, that's what we need. I mean, this video is kind of just a demonstration of what I was able to do with a hand cannon and a shotgun, the typical meta loadout that you see all the sweat is using, and this is not something I'm used to doing. This is just something that I was like, you know what, I've got this God Roll Igneous, I've got this God Roll Reese Walker, let me just run into Crucible and start using them and see how it goes. And this was the first game that I played, and I immediately dropped a 32 bomb. I was at the top of the leaderboard, and it felt effortless. Now, granted, part of that's going to be some of the people that I was playing. If I got pitted against an actual sweat lord like an Unbroken or whatever, it wouldn't have panned out so well. But either way, it would be nice to see a meta change, and I think that that's going to be best achieved by us giving more forgiveness to our other primaries. So guys, let me know what you think in the comments. See what you think about the meta. Maybe you want it to stay this way. Just let me know. So folks, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.